Welcome back to CryptosRUs. I am George. We're all George. So, of course, inflation numbers came out this morning. Wasn't good. U.S. inflation rate is at 7.9%, close to 8%. It'll probably go higher as the months go on. So, how are the Bitcoin traders reacting to this? How is Bitcoin and crypto reacting to this? Well, let's discuss. And also, I want to give you guys an update on Terra, which is still on fire. Just hit its all-time high again. And an update on Ethereum. And an update on Cardano. And an update on XRP. All right, let's get started. Smash the like, subscribe to the channel. Make sure you follow me on social media. And hit that notification bell. And follow and check out all the latest news, article, and guides at CryptosRUs.com. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Hopefully you guys are doing okay. We had a Bart Simpson moment with Bitcoin, so you can see what happened there. Yesterday, we had a pretty good day. You know, the executive order came out, and it was a big nothing burger. And then all of a sudden, we came back down because I think people were just fearful what's going to come today with the inflation number. CPI 7.9%, right? But, you know, Bitcoin is holding right now, holding a little bit above 39. I'd love to see Bitcoin break above 40,000 and continue its way. But it does seem like fear is still high. Bitcoin traders, not investors, traders are still kind of digesting the news, trying to anticipate what's going to come next. Just like Wall Street. Wall Street is not looking good right now. Dow, NASDAQ, especially NASDAQ down 2%, right? A lot of traders trying to digest what is going to happen with a slowing economy and still rising inflation, artificially high rising inflation because of war, right? So that is what traders are trying to decide right now. So in case you didn't tune in this morning, what happened with U.S. Binance? What happened, Mar? You have to give some context because I don't know anything that happened. So I covered this morning my earlier stream. Hopefully you guys have been tuning in. I'm seeing the numbers go higher and higher with that stream, so I'm glad you guys are liking it. But I talked about the 7.9, which is a little bit higher than expected. It's supposed to be 7.8%, which isn't bad, which isn't good at all. So just think about it, 8%. I don't know, you know, you guys may have heard me talk about this. I don't think it has like, you know, I don't think the reality of this, okay, has set in people's minds yet. That's what I mean to say. Do you realize that as of right now, every year, your dollar is getting devalued by 8% just by sitting there? Think about your money in a savings account or a checking account right now. How much are you getting? 0.1%? I don't know what they're giving. Even a CD is like what? 2% or whatever, less than 2%. You are losing against inflation. You are losing 8% year over year right now. That's how bad it is. What kind of investment guarantees you 8% year to year? You're not getting an 8% bump in salary every year, that's for sure, right? If you buy a 10-year bond, it's at 2%, less than 2%. So I don't know if this hit or, you know, yeah, I guess I don't know if this really hit with most people. That CPI inflation is growing at 8% now and will probably rise even higher to 9% or 10% before it starts flattening down. I mean, that's just insane, right? So if you have your money, hard-earned money, parked in your savings or bank account right now, you are losing. You are losing at a really, really tremendous fast rate. So if you think you're winning just by, you know, sitting on a boatload of cash, well, you're not. You're losing 8% right now. That's what's happening. So this is an unfortunate thing. So you have to park your money in something that's going to grow faster than 8%. Is it gold? Gold hasn't moved 8% in a decade, okay? So it's not gold. It's not bonds. It's not, I don't know, any other precious metal, right? Nothing except Bitcoin and crypto, all right? So that's what we have. That's why I say Bitcoin is the best hedge against inflation. Because short term, yeah, we have volatility. Long term, over years, nothing has outperformed Bitcoin. It's the greatest investment we have today, and it's the greatest store value and the greatest hedge against inflation. It will prove itself. Right now, short term, if you have naysayers like Peter Schiff saying, oh, look, it dropped like whatever percent in a week or something, right? That's short term. You expand it out to years, nothing comes close to performance of Bitcoin. I mean, you could argue maybe like Tesla have kept up in 2021, but if you go back 5 years, 10 years, forget about it. 900,000% increase in 10 years, nothing is close, right? So, but this is the reality. This is the reality. Inflation's going to get higher, and it's not a good situation. And right now, if you have a boatload of cash, you are seeing a devalue in front of your eyes at an exponential rate. This is the reason why Michael Saylor decided to buy so much Bitcoin, because of this. He knew this was coming. Maybe not to this extent, but basically, inflation is a silent tax on your money. So obviously, going back to my point, I kind of lost track there. Bitcoin traders are not very happy about this. Don't know what's next, what to expect, right? So they're panicking over this, and they're waiting to see our favorite chair, Fed Chair Powell, our buddy, what he's going to be doing. So next week, we don't have to wait very long. March 15 to 16 is when the next FOMC meeting will be conducted, and we will see. I mean, he has already said basically 25 basis point for the first one, but I had a schedule pulled up this morning. We have another one in June, right? No, is it June? No, May. And then July, and then basically like every month or two, there's going to be another meeting. And it's pretty clear that every single meeting, he's going to be raising rates. But I think, I'm speculating the second one that's coming in May, that'll be a 50 basis points. So it's going to be higher because inflation just keeps going up and up and up. Up and up and up. 4 a.m. Australia. There's a lot of people at 4 a.m. watching me from Australia, so I thank you. Yeah. I am in STX. Love waking up to green. DCA helped bring STX into green from deep red. Congratulations. I think Stacks is a good project. I don't know what's making it go up other than people thinking that DeFi on top of Bitcoin is the way. Have you looked into Flow? I have. I think they're a fantastic chain, but very hard to buy in the U.S. That's what's holding them back. They're all about NFTs, CryptoKitties. I started looking into CryptoKitties. I was wondering why CryptoKitties have not gone up, just like CryptoPunks and others. I'll share my thoughts in Q&A. But, founders of CryptoKitty, NBA Top Shots is running on top, UFC stuff. NBA Top Shots is huge, so... Flow is a pretty good chain. It's just very hard to buy in the U.S. Very hard to buy. SW, man, thank you. All right, so moving on. Outside inflation, well, what about Bitcoin inflation, right? It's the opposite. Rather than it going up, Bitcoin's inflation has been decreasing over time with every single halving event. That's the whole point of the halving event, to have less Bitcoins being released and to decrease how much overall, right, the inflation rate of Bitcoin until it hits zero. So it's getting lower and lower and lower and lower and lower and lower. And one day it will hit that zero mark and there will be no more. But that's going to be in 100 years. However, we're already over 90% mined. I think last count was like 92, 93% mined. Once we hit that 99% mark, that's when it slows down. But going up to that 99%, it will probably increase because more and more miners are still mining, upping their hash rate, and hoarding every single Bitcoin they mine, and then they're just putting in their stockpile, right? So there's very, very little new Bitcoins that's hitting the market in fact, I would argue probably none, because everyone's just hoarding it. And what they're doing is they're taking the MicroStrategy way, which is to borrow against their Bitcoin, and they're taking a loan against it. And then that way they don't need to sell any Bitcoin. So it's compounding that, right? But bottom line is, while the dollar or fiat around the world devalues and inflates to nothing, Bitcoin is deflating, and that is why it's going to go up, because of scarcity. So just want to remind you guys of that. This is inflection point of illiquid supply versus liquid supply. And I've shown this before. It's a little confusing to look at, but bottom line is the liquid supply, the circulating supply, right, is decreasing. And the non-circulating supply is increasing. And that's due to what I just said, miners just hoarding everything. Also holders continue to hodl, continue to buy. And now you have long-term like whales like MicroStrategy, Michael Saylor, Jack Dorsey, and many companies, Mass Mutual, KPMG, all these companies that are also buying and holding. And you have funds like Grayscale, which has over 600,000 Bitcoins, and Purpose ETF, which they have tens of thousands of Bitcoin, Galaxy Digital, you know, and other miners that they're just hoarding too. So bottom line is the liquid supply is growing. The liquid supply, the ones that's still circling on exchanges, is decreasing, right? Again, scarcity, right? And eventually it gets to zero, and that's when Bitcoin is at the moon. So we just have to be patient. We just have to be patient. It's coming. I mean, this is, you know, all the metrics that's measuring Bitcoin activity and its growth and its scarcity. I mean, it's getting better and better every day, right? That's why we need to ignore short-term volatility and know that this is the right path. And you know what? The third largest whale out there agrees with me. Surprise purchase of another 412 Bitcoin at 38.5. He or she bought 318 at 38.2. For the first time ever, he or she did sell about 1,500 BTC at top. He timed it pretty good. He timed it at 43,000, sold at 1,500. But before that, you know, you could see it's nothing but accumulation, right? Almost every single transaction is accumulation. So this time around, he decided to swing trade, and he did guess right. But now he's starting to accumulate everything that he sold once again. But bottom line is, this person that owns $5 billion worth of Bitcoin, $5 billion, who knows? Who knows? Who knows who it is? Right? Continues to buy and continue to hold and not selling at all. What are other good stuff? Bitcoin's average trading volume is over 60% higher than Apple's. So, you know, I think part of this is because of what's going on with the war. You would figure that a lot of people in Europe, especially Russia and Ukraine, you know, they're trying to buy in. A lot of donations being sent, you know, transactions being sent. But of course, there's a lot of trading activity. There's a lot of bot activity, right? So I don't know if the high trading volume is normal, nor is it good. But this kind of proves my point that there are a lot of traders trying to time the market, trying to figure out the market, trying to treat Bitcoin like it was a tech stock, like it's Apple stock, right? But it's not. And traders always think they're so smart, that they're so smart. But the people that make the most money are the investors, are the long-term holders. Just ask anyone, right? Don't take my word for it. Ask all the billionaires out there how they made their money. They bought low, they held, and that's how they become billionaires. It's really that simple. You don't need to trade at all. So, Tether CTO says that CBDCs will not impact private stablecoin markets. even though I wholly disagree with that. But he has to say this. He has to say it because honestly, the very first stablecoin that will disappear when a digital dollar appears is Tether. Quite honestly. No one likes Tether. No one wants Tether around. Tether was created by iFinix, which is the parent company of Bitfinex. It's always been questionable, and Bitfinex themselves have been questionable. Everything about Bitfinex, iFinix, Tether has been questionable ever since they were introduced. So of course he has to say this, but bottom line is Tether will be the very first to go, okay? No one trusts Tether. Most likely they're going to get shut out. Now, I do think something like USDC will stay around because they're more trustworthy. Paxos, Gemini Dollar, a lot of these will probably stick around, but there's still probably be like some heavy scrutiny looking at how much they hold, and maybe they have to have insurance and proper insurance and all that stuff. But this goes back to my point about what about stable coins that are not backed by fiat, right? Like stable coins that's backed by Bitcoin. I think they're going to be around, and they're going to become the dominant stable coin of DeFi, and it's starting to happen already. So I do think that Tether's days are numbered, and that's a good thing. We just pretend like it never existed. It's good that if they just disappear, that'll be good. Be good overall. Bruce, or I should say Batman. Gas isn't up because war. It's a 2021 policy. War effects starts in a few weeks. Tim Pool broke down all the metrics this morning. He's pretty cool too. I've never heard of Tim Pool, but it sounds like he's a smart guy. So gas isn't up because of war. What is it? Artificially being suppressed? There's a law that suppresses it, or because oil output is increasing? I'll have to look into that. But I did wonder why. Oil actually started coming down, even though the war is ongoing and sanctions are going to be placed on Russian oil soon. Interesting to think about. I'll have to look more into it. All right, so that's everything that relates to Bitcoin and inflation and what's going on. But what about everything else? So I did want to talk about 3 different coins: Terra, Ethereum, and Cardano. So let's start with those. If you look at the overall market cap, down to 1.8 trillion once again. We need to break above that 2 trillion. That's where we need to be. 2 trillion is a nice number. It's a really nice number. All right, let's start with Ethereum. Ethereum just achieved a major milestone. 10 million Ether has been staked in the new 2.0 Beacon chain. You're getting about 5% interest by staking, but the unfortunate thing is you can't take it out, right? So that 10 million is basically gone. So 8.4 of the circulating supply. So obviously Ethereum is making their ways to proof of stake to Ethereum 2.0, which should be out in 3 months. They said Q2. I think it's estimated June. I don't know if that's been pushed back, but they did say it's Q2, right? So this is definitely a big event. And if Ethereum could make the transition, that would be fantastic. If they do a flawless transition to proof of stake, then they could figure out what to do about scaling, right? But naturally, moving to proof of stake will make them more energy efficient and a little bit faster. The number of transactions goes up slightly from its current 15 transactions per second to about 75. That's what I heard. 75 to 100, something like that. So it will increase. However, they still need a scaling solution, right? So layer 2s will not just, disappear. And I do think someone like Polygon, which is really heavily invested in ZK rollups and ZK scaling, they may have an integral part with Ethereum 2.0 because Vitalik did say he wants to concentrate specifically on ZK rollups, right? So we'll see. We'll see what happens. But, this is definitely helping Ethereum, at least right now, because even though Ethereum has gone down, right? I know it's gone down. It's about 2,600 now once again. Yeah, a little bit under 2,600. If you didn't have all this staked in, it would be much worse, right? And obviously, DeFi, plenty of DeFi projects on top of Ethereum right now. That's also contributing, trying to lock it down. And I was just curious. The total number of Ether burned is over 5 billion. And this is just gone, out of existence, right? Close to 2 million ETH. That's a significant amount. Now, Ethereum's congestion has gotten a lot better. Yesterday or the day before, I was trying to send something. And it was only like $2 or something. I don't know when I did it, but it was really low. But you can see the burn rate is much lower now. 24-hour burn rate is at 2 per minute. It was at one point in time like 20 or 30 ETH burn per minute, right? So it has definitely slowed down quite a bit. Off topic, what are your thoughts on SoFi? I actually have no thoughts. I don't know how their business model works. I just know they have a brand new state-of-the-art fancy stadium in Los Angeles. And it looks fantastic, but I actually don't know how their business model works. Ian says, I think LV China signed up a VeChain. Ian from Scotland, not Ian, Scotland. You have a big Scottish community. Say hi to him. Well, hi to everyone in Scotland. Yeah, they did. So, I mean, VeChain has a lot of anything B2B, they're pretty much part of. So, they have the B2B portion done. It's the B2C that they're working on, and they need to work on it, in my opinion. Ergo, I don't really have any thoughts on Ergo. All right, now, as for Cardano, there is a new DEX out called MiniSwap, or MinSwap. I'm sorry, it's MinSwap. So now you're starting to see more DEXs that are more traditional, right? That actually utilize the smart contracts, that actually utilize liquidity pools. And this is important because the liquidity pools lock in liquidity. So this is the second one behind SundaeSwap. There are other DEXs out, but they don't have liquidity pools. They use more like some kind of order book, so it doesn't really lock in any liquidity at all. But if you look at Cardano's TVL, it's getting up there. It's starting to climb. Still a lot less than $1 billion, but it's starting to climb, and that's because you're starting to get more. Like SundaeSwap, about 115 million, and now you have MinSwap, that's 50 million. So the more DEXs that come on board Cardano, the better it is, right? So just want to bring that up. We do have a secondary DEX that people could use and stake now. And lastly, Terra, right? Terra is above 100, flipped above XRP once again, my beloved XRP. And Terra is just on fire. It's just too strong. Now I hear a lot of people ask about this. George, should I take some profit, right, from Terra? Should I take some profit because it's so high? Can it come down? My answer is this. It's never a bad time to take profit, okay? You can't lose when you're taking profit, especially now. There's still a lot of volatility. We know there's still a lot of stuff we need to worry about. If you don't have cash on the side, the 20, 25, 30% cash I've been talking about, well then, if you have opportunity, take some profit and build towards that cash pile, right? It's important because you could use that to DCA back into Terra or back into anything else. You need to have that cash pile. So, bottom line is it smart to, if you don't have cash and you want to lock in profits? Sure. Nothing wrong with that. But my overall feel is just because the way they're set up with UST and with their growing DeFi, I just don't see what's really going to slow them down at this point. So I do think they're going to continue forward. And you can see UST is growing. Not too long ago, it was just at 10 billion, then 12 billion. Now it's above 14 billion. Pretty soon, we're going to look at this, it's going to be at 20 billion, 25 billion. And then it's going to get pretty close to something like USDC and USDT. So the way this is growing is just phenomenal. And there's good reason, right? Like if you look at Terra's Twitter, so they just tweeted this, how the bridge, Terra does have a bridge, received a major upgrade, so now you can send UST and Luna to other chains besides Ethereum. So Ethereum obviously is the biggest one, but you could send it to Binance Smart Chain, Harmony, Osmosis, which is part of Cosmos, and now you could send it to Secret, Injective, and this other one I'm not even familiar with, Axlar. I'm not even sure about that, but the reason why you want to send it to them because their dexes do support Luna and do support UST, right? So it's becoming the de facto stablecoin among dexes, and it's only going to grow. It's only going to grow. And here's another one. If you scroll up, Excalibur is an exchange that is on top of Phantom, and now you could use UST and stake it against Phantom and earn a ton of rewards too, right? So it's just growing by leaps and bounds. So it's not gonna stop. And I did see this. I don't know who this company is, but there is a newly launched Terra ETP exchange traded product that is also following Terra's footsteps, and they have 1 million under management already. So there's funds now that's created for Terra and tracking Terra. So that's probably also helping Terra along the way too. All right, that's pretty much it. Overall, with inflation numbers still making traders wary of putting big money in. A lot of people still kind of wary about when to jump into the market, and honestly, no one knows. You can't time it. You don't know when top or bottom is going to come, right? But we know Bitcoin is the answer. Bitcoin is the best that we have, and crypto is only getting started with Web 3.0. So bottom line is, you want to be in early, you don't want to leave. So just DCA your way into the market. Stop trying to time it, right? All right, guys, let's do some Q&A. I have a Chris Larson NFT for sale. Make offer rubles only. Paintball asks, are we in a bear market? No, we're in a bear trend. We're in a bear trend of a bull market. That's my opinion of Bitcoin. I would like to stake my Polygon and scale on Vauld. Is it safe there? There's risk. There's always a risk. But me personally, I have a significant amount of Polygon on Vauld right now, earning 12.8%. And it's pretty easy to use, transferring in and out. A lot of the restrictions that you see on some of the other lending projects, they don't have. And they do have insurance using cold storage as well. But there's always a risk. There's always a risk. Let's see. Someone is asking about all the airdrops for Atom. Hey, it's airdrops. You get it for free, right? What should you do with it? You could keep it. You could sell it. If there's a DEX that has a pair for it, I mean, it's really up to you. What are your thoughts about Engine? Will it survive the metaverse competition? I like to hope so. I think they're putting all their eggs into Efinity, right? And I'm hoping that it works out. I like Engine. They've been around since 2017. And they're more than just NFTs, right? They're about tokenization. They have tools. So I hope they work out. Can Cardano reach $100 plus when BTC reaches 100,000 plus? I would say so. I think it's around $6 right now, right? So to get to 100 plus, that's about what? I don't know, 20x, 15x, 16x or whatever. So I think it might be close. Maybe not that high, but it'll be up significantly, at least 10x by the time Bitcoin hits 100,000. What do you think about Robert Kiyosaki's tweet? I don't pay attention too much to his tweets. I like Robert because of his book, and I like his views on Bitcoin and distrust in the Fed, but I don't like everything else he's saying. He's like a what do you call it? Like someone that's calling for the end of the world, basically. All his tweets are about the destruction of everything, right? And I don't like the way that he and he's very political too, and I don't like that either. So I like his views on distrust in Fed, stocking up Bitcoin. Think like his rich dad rather than his poor dad, but all his other viewpoints I don't agree with. How will you diversify 7K into crypto? Well, you know what? Check out my video from yesterday, last night, when I DCA'd into my sample portfolio. It kind of shows you, the stuff that I like, right? But mostly, I would say Bitcoin and then some of the major big cap L1s that I've been talking about. What do you think? BTC breaks below 30. So what? We did it last year, and Bitcoin came right back up. There's no magical point, because the TA people will tell you that. It's like, we have all these supports and all these different things, moving averages, lines and trend lines and channels and all that stuff. And if you break, oh man, it's doomsday. It's the end of Bitcoin. No, it's all nonsense. Bitcoin moves due to traders, and it has a support. It has a very strong support. The long-term holders are not selling, right? So the volatility can only move it so far before it becomes too cheap and people will buy it up, right? So if it breaks below 30, so what? We broke to 28,000 last year, and right after that, we went right back up to 69,000 from there. So what did that mean exactly? Nothing. It meant nothing. Top 3 ETH killers. If I had to choose, I would choose, at this point in time, if I had to choose 3, it would definitely be Terra, Solana, Avalanche. Those three. But it's not the end-all be-all list. There's plenty of good projects. Thoughts on CKB? I mean, Nervos is hanging around. They've been out since 2018, and they have their new fancy EVM chain, and they're a bridge provider for Ethereum, soon Cardano, and many other chains. So I think they're hanging around. They could do well, but right now they just don't have a whole lot of momentum. That's the bottom line. Benjamin, you look like a bad guy from Rush Hour Part 1. I don't remember. I just remember the 2 main characters. I don't remember who the bad guy is. Do you plan on having guests in the futures? Few interviews would do nice. It would be a nice change in it would just be a nice change overall. But I'll tell you this, from a views perspective, let's just put it that way, I guess. A whole lot of people don't have the patience to watch a whole interview. So views usually generally suck. And also, timing of it, scheduling, just not for me. And a lot of times these guys, especially, I would still like to have a few guys on the show, but honestly, even having Michael Saylor on, I mean, what can I ask him at this point that hasn't been asked 100 times already, right? What else can he possibly say besides everything he has said already, right? So it'd be cool to talk to Michael Saylor, of course, but I just don't know how much more he can say, right? That's the bottom line. What else? Did I see the new Batman? Yeah, I did. I liked it, but not nearly as much as I thought I would. They should have made it shorter, and they should have added more darkness to the movie. Because the whole movie was like, you know, they made it seem like Batman was just gonna kill everyone, right? Like, that was the whole theme. Like, the theme of the movie was very dark. Yeah, he didn't kill anyone at all. I mean, I know it's against Batman's like rules or whatever, but they made it seem like he was, but he didn't. So they should have made a rated R movie, and they should have shortened it by like an hour. It was just way too long, too much nonsense in there. I did like Batman's car, but it doesn't make a whole lot of sense. He like flipped the engine around, and it's behind him, and it's just, it doesn't make a whole lot of sense. It doesn't, a car shouldn't operate that way. And he has turbos like right beside his head, suck in air right next to his ears. It's just a really weird setup. But I did like his car. Would Michael Saylor like to meet Chris Larson? Yeah, I bet he would. In fact, I got off the phone with Brad Garlinghouse right before I started streaming, and I asked him, would you like to meet Chris Larson? And he said yes. Yes, I would. I think that's it. Anything else? I didn't spoil anything, all right? I didn't spoil any plot in Batman. I'm just saying it could have been better. Is UST going to surpass ADA? You know, if UST keeps going, you know, if it keeps getting adopted by all the DEXs out there, it certainly has a good chance to keep moving up. And it could be, you know, right under USDC in the future. So, all right, guys, I'll let you go. Overall, you know what? We'll just have to wait and see. The traders are just too fearful. They don't know what to do about inflation numbers. But we, as long-term investors, we know what to do. Continue the course, DCA, and just not panic, and just stay patient. In the meantime, there are a lot of good opportunities out there, that's for sure. So take advantage if you can. Smash it a like, subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you guys tonight, 8:30 p.m. Central Standard Time. All right? Take care. Bye-bye.